The story begins with a surprising scene. A huge ship is moving fast, but the most shocking thing is that it's running not on water, but across the scorching desert. This is not our world, but a mysterious other world, where people's culture, language, and way of life are completely different. The most dangerous thing is that in this world, humans as well as huge and deadly monsters live. In fact, the ship was heading toward the Sky Tower with some experienced monster hunters. Their mission was to close that main gate forever, so that the dangerous monsters of this world could not enter another world. But on the way, a huge monster attacks them. Its attack is so terrible that the entire ship shakes violently. In the middle of the chaos, one monster hunter falls into the desert below, while the rest are forced to move ahead with the ship. From here, the story reaches the present time, where a special forces team is out on a mission in the desert. Then they notice a very strange thing. The tracks of an armored vehicle weighing around 10 tons suddenly disappear from the sand, as if it had never been there. Before they can understand this mystery, a terrible sandstorm appears without warning and engulfs the entire team. When everyone regains consciousness, the storm has completely disappeared, but the desert before them is no longer the same. Unintentionally, they have reached a completely different and mysterious world. After crossing just one sand dune, they find the missing armored vehicle. Near it lie the burned bodies of the soldiers from the other team. Empty shell casings are scattered everywhere, showing that before they died, they fought a terrifying enemy with everything they had. But the real fear begins when the skeleton of a gigantic creature appears half buried in the sand nearby. Its size is even greater than a prehistoric beast. The sight is even more terrifying than seeing a living T-Rex standing right in front of them. Then suddenly, the sand behind them begins to move rapidly. It feels as if a massive creature is charging toward them at full speed. The entire team immediately jumps into the vehicle and speeds away while heavy machine guns continuously rain bullets at the monster. But surprisingly, those bullets have almost no effect on it. The next moment, the monster reveals its true form. It is a gigantic horned monster whose body is covered with incredibly strong armor. Even armor-piercing bullets cannot penetrate its hide. Their armored vehicle looks like a toy in front of it. Within seconds, the first member of the team is killed. Before he dies, he throws an entire string of grenades at the monster. A massive explosion follows, but it still fails to cause any serious damage to the desert beast. Instead, it becomes even more violent and starts chasing them at full speed. To save their lives, the survivors hide among a maze of narrow rock formations. The tight passages are too small for the massive beast to enter, and somehow they manage to survive. The team believes that the giant horned monster is the greatest threat in this world, but anyone who has stared death in the face knows the enemy you can see is rarely as dangerous as the predator hiding in the shadows. Without warning, team leader Alice is attacked. In an instant, enormous spider-like creatures crawl out from every direction. Within seconds, the entire area is swarming with them. A single shadow spider is deadly enough to kill a person, but here an entire colony has come out to hunt. Gunfire and terrified screams echo across the desert. Then, little by little, everything goes silent. Sometime later, Alice regains consciousness. She finds herself wrapped in thick black silk, hanging in midair. It doesn't take long for her to realize the horrifying truth. She's been trapped inside the nest of the giant spiders. Animal bones are scattered everywhere, and the bodies of her fallen teammates hang suspended in webs all around her. Scanning her surroundings, Alice spots a medical bag lying in one corner. She quickly grabs a flare, lights it, and uses its faint glow to search the twisting tunnels for a way out. After making her way deeper into the nest, she discovers one of her teammates still alive. Supporting each other, they slowly move forward, but suddenly, he stops. His body begins to shake, and the color drains from his face. When he lifts his shirt, Alice freezes in horror. Spider eggs are growing inside his body. There is nothing she can do to save him. Forced to watch helplessly, she sees him die a slow and painful death. At that moment, Alice realizes just how merciless this world truly is. Thinking fast, she ignites an oxygen cylinder and uses the flames as a shield while running toward the exit. Many of the spiders retreat from the fire, but several burning spiders continue chasing her through the tunnels. One of them catches her again and drags her deeper into the cave. Even with death staring her in the face, Alice refuses to give up. She kicks the spider with all her strength, pulls out a few armor-piercing rounds from her pocket, and throws them into the burning creature. A powerful explosion tears through the tunnel, opening an escape route. Somehow she manages to fight her way out of the cave. The moment she reaches the surface, she desperately checks her entire body. She fears the spiders may have planted eggs inside her as well. If they had, she would have suffered the same fate as her teammate. Then she notices something important. can't. Every shadow spider stops at the edge of the sunlight. They glare at her from the darkness, but none of them dares step into the blazing sun. Now, Alice knows their greatest weakness. These monsters are terrified of bright light, but her nightmare is far from over. Deep wounds cover her body, the pain is unbearable, and her medical bag is gone. With no other choice, she does the only thing that might keep her alive. She pulls apart a bullet, pours out the gunpowder, grits her teeth, and uses the burning powder to cauterize her wound. The pain is unbearable, and she lets out a scream, but it saves her life. Exhausted and barely able to stand, Alice climbs to the top of a towering sand dune. As far as the eye can see, there is nothing but an endless sea of desert. To confirm her suspicion, she throws a rock into the distant sand. The very next second, something enormous stirs beneath the surface. That's when she realizes the horrifying truth. This entire desert is the hunting ground of the giant horned monster. Even so, with no other path left to take, Alice walks straight into the deadly desert once again. After a long and exhausting journey, Alice spots the wreckage of several massive ships buried deep in the middle of the desert. The sight makes no sense. Ships should never exist in a place like this. But starving and desperate for water, she pushes the mystery aside and climbs aboard one of the wrecks, hoping to find food and supplies. The moment she steps inside, someone attacks her. A brutal hand-to-hand fight breaks out. Alice fights with everything she has, but her injuries have already taken their toll. In the end, she is overpowered. The mysterious stranger turns out to be an experienced monster hunter from this world. Sometime earlier, he and his team had been crossing the desert when the giant horned monster attacked their ship. He was thrown overboard and separated from the others. Crossing the deadly desert alone was impossible, so he stayed hidden, waiting for the right opportunity. He survived by drinking water from a small spring and eating moss whenever hunger became unbearable. Since Alice and the hunter come from different worlds, they don't speak the same language. At first, both believe the other is an enemy. The moment Alice breaks free from his grip, another fierce fight erupts between them. Then everything changes. A swarm of shadow spiders begins crawling toward the ship. Death is only moments away. But then Alice does something the hunter never expects. Instead of running, she risks her own life to save his. That single decision changes everything. The hostility between them disappears. A little later, Alice offers him the last piece of chocolate she has left. It's a small gesture, but it's enough to build the first spark of trust between them. Since they can't understand each other's language, they communicate through gestures and hand signals. Before long, they realize they're both trying to reach the same destination. A massive tower stretching high into the sky. The sky tower is the only gateway connecting both worlds, and Alice's last hope of ever making it home. But reaching it means crossing the deadliest desert imaginable, a place ruled by the giant horned monster that patrols the sands without mercy. Defeating that creature in a direct fight is impossible, so together they come up with a dangerous plan. If one monster can't be beaten, they'll use another monster to kill it. As night falls, Alice deliberately uses herself as bait, drawing the shadow spiders out of their nest. Meanwhile, the monster hunter waits nearby with a carefully prepared trap. The instant a gigantic shadow spider is caught, he triggers the trap. The creature is hopelessly entangled. Without wasting a second, the two of them launch their final attack together. At last, they obtain the one weapon capable of bringing down the giant horned beast. After returning to a safe location, the monster hunter carefully wraps the spider's venomous veins around a bone-forged arrow, creating a deadly poison weapon. But that alone won't be enough. He also gives Alice a double-edged sword and personally teaches her the unique swordsmanship of his world. The technique channels the power of fire, allowing each strike to deal devastating damage to monsters. With their preparations complete, the final hunt begins. Using wooden barrels filled with sand, they build a simple but clever trap. The faint sound of falling sand is enough to catch the attention of the giant horned monster. The moment it moves toward the trap, Alice and the hunter sprint in the opposite direction, but the beast notices them immediately and begins chasing them instead. To give Alice enough time to recover weapons from the abandoned armored vehicle, the monster hunter deliberately lures the creature away. When the timing is perfect, he fires the poisoned arrow. The venom isn't powerful enough to kill the monster instantly, but it slowly begins to numb its body and weaken its movements. Enraged, the beast launches a devastating counterattack. With a single swing of its massive tail, it sends the monster hunter flying, leaving him critically injured. Meanwhile, Alice unleashes a relentless barrage from the armored vehicle's heavy machine gun. Even then, the monster's armor refuses to break. As the poison continues spreading through its body, the creature gradually starts to slow down. Seeing her chance, Alice fires a powerful explosive round. At that exact moment, the monster hunter makes one final leap. He lands on the monster's head and drives the poisoned bone blade with all his strength into its only weak spot. The beast lets out a deafening roar. Writhing in unbearable pain, it violently thrashes its enormous body in every direction. The hunter is thrown high into the air before crashing hard onto the sand, unconscious and severely wounded. For a brief moment, Alice freezes in fear. Then she makes her choice. Risking her own life, she charges forward and delivers the final blow. The giant horned monster finally collapses, never to rise again. With the beast defeated, the path to the Sky Tower is finally clear. After a long and exhausting journey, Alice is stunned by what she sees. In the middle of the endless, scorching desert lies a lush oasis. It looks like something straight out of paradise. Towering trees surround a crystal-clear lake, while enormous, peaceful creatures wander freely through the greenery. After spending the entire day hungry and dehydrated, Alice finally drinks fresh water with the monster hunter's permission. Together, they hunt giant desert insects and eat their first proper meal in days. For the first time in what feels like forever, they believe they'll finally get a peaceful night's sleep. But around midnight, everything changes. A massive wildfire suddenly erupts deep inside the forest. Within seconds, the flames spread in every direction, sending a herd of gigantic armored beasts charging straight toward them. If they get caught in the stampede, they won't survive. Then, out of nowhere, a blazing streak of fire crashes down from the sky. Alice stares in disbelief. Standing before her is a warrior who looks like he stepped straight out of an ancient legend. Softly, Alice whispers, "Thank you." The mysterious warrior smiles and replies, "Don't thank me yet." When Alice regains consciousness, she discovers she's been taken prisoner. She's locked inside a makeshift cell. The monster hunter is there as well. That's when Alice learns the truth. These warriors are the very teammates the hunter was separated from in the desert. But Alice isn't the type to sit around and wait. The first chance she gets, she carefully studies the room, grabs a wooden chair, and smashes the iron lock off the cell door. Quietly, she sneaks into the lower deck of the ship. It appears to be the kitchen. Her eyes immediately land on a sharp kitchen knife. Just as she's about to grab it for protection, the monster hunter steps in and quickly clears up the misunderstanding. The truth is far more surprising. These people are the descendants of the ancient guardians who have protected the Sky Tower for generations. From the tower defenders, Alice reveals the greatest truth in this mysterious world. Thousands of years ago, there was a very advanced civilization here. He had made such powerful technology which could combine two different worlds among themselves. But that same power one day led to their destruction. The entire civilization was gone, but the ancient tower connecting both the worlds was still present. Due to volcanoes' energy and fierce electric storms, this tower became active from time to time and unintentionally converted people to another world. This was the reason why Alice and her team weren't the first humans to reach this world. Therefore, the head of the tower's defenders could understand and speak some part of the language of humans. But the real danger was yet to be remaining. The tower protected a huge fire dragon. His body was as big as the mountain, the armor extremely strong, and its fire was so terrible that the stone melt up to. He had only a weakness. When he opened his mouth to raise the fire, his throat could be attacked. In front of such a monster, the strength of man was absolutely negligible. The horrible war begins. Almost all of Alice's partners are killed one by one. During this time, a stunning attack of the fire dragon drops Alice into a deep ditch. Coincidence, the same place was the most unstable portal among the two worlds. When Alice reconscious, she's back to Earth. The injured Alice immediately takes to the helicopter for army medical treatment. But before she can overcome this horrible experience, another big accident occurs. The same fire dragon also breaks the wall of time and reaches the Earth. Now its real rampage begins. The Earth's tank regiment, armored cars, and modern weapons are proven toys in front of him. In front of his fire, all military strength of humans appears useless. Only devastation in the entire battlefield is spread, and almost the entire army ends. Finally, only Alice saves alive, but she doesn't lose. As the dragon opens his mouth to raise the fire, Alice gives a special explosive arrow stain inside his throat at the right time. There is awful explosion, and the dragon is badly injured. Alice thinks all over, but the injured dragon reverses last time. Alice becomes completely helpless in front of its strength. At the same time, help reaches. Monster Hunter and his partner have also crossed the portal and reached the Earth. All together fight the last fight, and finally end that awful fire dragon. After After that, Monster Hunter says to Alice, "We just didn't come here to help you. We don't want our world's monster to destroy your world, but it all has started again." At this time, the film ends and leaves an open end, which points clear that further part of its story may also come.